Hey Con, we've been going across the city for a couple of weeks now. You want to just chill for a bit?
Don't you want to find your hair?
I will eventually, trying to get someone to voice the witch, but we'll see what happens. You know, it's all their choices, and people can and have told me no on many an occasion.
You give them options?
Of course! A tyrant with a gun is a tyrant that should be shot. Everyone should be free to make their own choices, whether it benefits them or harms them. It's their choice.
Maybe I've been too harsh on you.
Nah, I know I'm an asshole. I'll be a prick to everyone if I am given the option. Mind if I talk about something funny? I know you don't care about what I say, but I appreciate you letting me rant.
You know what? Go for it. You've earned a little bit of respect from me. Not much, but some.
Thanks. So, on Wednesday I got to use my 3D printed Warhound Titan. It was against my friend who was testing out his competitive list. So, 2k points, I brought a Warhound Titan, which is 1,100 points, then 900 points of Space Marines utilizing the Iron Hands detachment. I accidentally marked them as salamanders, but it didn't matter, I didn't use any named characters, so more of a general Space Marines list. Got a Tech Marine, an Apothecary, 10 Intercessors, 5 Heavies, a Brutalist and Ballistus Dreadnought, a Rhino, and 5 Deathwatch Veterans. So, not an optimized list, but the list was meant to be more of just a filler for the Titan. I could talk about how much the Deathwatch Veterans suck in this list, but this ain't about them. My opponent, one of my closest friends, played an Imperial Agents detachment, the Voidfarers one? I can't recall the name of it off the top of my head, and I'm not about to pull the book out to look it up. I hope he learned that Imperial Agents aren't capable of competitions, but he's definitely watching this video and will tell me that. Given he's asked me to finish painting his Thousand Suns, I assume he's wanting to go that way. But the Titan. So, Titans are like knights, where if you get them in the melee, they don't get their invulnerability saves, and the Warhound specifically doesn't have a lot of weapons options. A flamethrower, a plasma gun, a lasgun, and a heavy bolter. The plasma and lasguns both have blast as an ability. So, the weapons I chose were the flamer and the plasma. I figure it'd be a good series of options there for close range and long blast, and boy was that wrong. I got first turn and took out like 2 units just in the first round, and I'll admit, I could have done more as well, but my Game Master mind activated and I spread my shots in order to make things last longer. Bad for competitions and a horrible way of playing, but I admit I do it a lot. Once that was done, he knew what he needed to do. Get one guy in close so that I couldn't use my plasma weapon with the blast to take out his everything. The smaller squad in his army had like 5 to 10 models, depending on how you count. The Immolator has some jank rules, but it works, I guess. But once he got some guys into melee with my Titan, some jank started happening there. My Titan couldn't use the blast weapon on anyone, whether they were at his toes or far away from him. So I could have moved the unit with his super heavy walker ability, but then I wouldn't have been able to shoot that phase, and no matter where I moved, I'd always have been too close to another unit to take the risk. So, I was restricted to my flamethrower and my big toe. And boy, that big toe is bad. Look at this stat block. 50-50 shot of actually hitting, decent strength, but for a Titan the damage and armor penetration is laughable. Hell, that strength makes it so I still need to roll 4s in order to wound an Armiger, which isn't even knee-high to my Titan. That melee might have killed 1 Deathwatch veteran per round if I was lucky. The Flamer did more, and it's a Flamer, so it isn't the most powerful weapon either. Looking at the weapons, even if I took the Mega Bolter, it's highly unlikely I would have actually gotten a lot of kills. 20 shots with sustained hits 1 is pretty good with a 3-up hit rate, but strength of 6, which is lower than the Flamer, and 1 AP and 2 damage, both also lower than the Flamer. Honestly, Titans suck, but there's one great thing they do. My buddy can tell you that they do it well. They instill fear. The biggest model that can't be completely hidden, but can also essentially shoot from anywhere. You look at that and you will immediately assume it's a danger, when in reality, it's nothing really to worry about. Sure, if it gets a line on you, it can maybe blow you away, but that's a lot easier said than done. It's stupid easy to hide from these things, especially with how competition tables are set up in 10th edition. So the issue with Titans right now is that they're so massive, their weapons are big, narrow in what they do, and their default melees, if they get options, are horrendously bad. You can essentially lock them down just by getting them close. Nothing else can shoot at you from the outside, and the Titan just isn't going to be able to quickly deal with a horde at its toes. So, is there a way for Titans to be viable in competitive games? I don't think so, not without changing how Big Guns Never Tire works. They need to make it so blast weapons can still be used on units that are further away, and to counter that, outside units should be able to shoot the big-ass robot that's got a bunch of dudes around it. Unfortunately, I don't think this will be changed because it wouldn't just affect Knights and Titans, but would also affect Dreadnoughts, tanks, and other vehicles. So maybe there's another way to fix it? Well, make it so Titanic or Towering or both should be able to fall back and shoot. Perhaps even advance and shoot, but the latter one would be less important. Knights actually used to do that before I got into 40k wargames. Only a few years ago, in fact. It makes sense, really. Like, why can't vehicles in general do that, given it's not a dude sprinting, it's a car flooring it? I mean, Titanic units can shoot and perform actions. Why can't they fall back over tiny guys and gun them as they walk away? But with that in mind, Titans are not meant to be on the table for 40k. They are meant for Apocalypse games, which haven't been updated since 7th edition, I think? But the 40k app has them, despite the fact you can't actually use 3 of them in competitive games, or 1 of them in any 40k game, because it costs more than 3,000 points! I think that's really all I got to say about it. Honestly, Titans are hilarious. Like, they're really funny. Absolutely horrifying god machines, but absolutely unusable too.
You know, I remember watching Titans during the Great Crusade. They were always something to keep in the back and just fire en masse.
Yeah, honestly, an alright tactic, but not really doable in 10th, unless your table isn't using the infinite up terrain rule. Titans just can't get line of sight without moving because the terrain stuff. It's still fun to have on the table, even if it's bad.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself with it, at least.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Did you just say you're happy for me? Who are you and what did you do with Jagaddai Khan? Shove off.